This is Shelley Craft coming to you live on SNN.Live. We're coming to you live from the 45th Annual New Orleans Investment Conference 2019 here in New Orleans. I have with me today David Hottman from Orestone Mining. It's a public company. I'm going to give you two symbols. It's ORS on the TSX-V and ORESF in the U.S. David, welcome to SNN.Live.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
It's good to have you. Let's get started with a brief overview of the company, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Orestone is a company that has assets in the country of Chile and the country of Canada. We're exploring for copper and gold deposits.
So what's a little history? You probably have history in both places, so you may have to give me a little bit more history than usual.
Our history with this company, my partner and I, is only about 6 or 8 years. And we have worked in Chile in the past, being involved with several very large discoveries. One is now 25 million ounces, and another about 6 million ounces. So we're very familiar with Chile and exploring for large deposits.
So what would you say is your competitive advantage as a company?
Well, Shelley, I would say our competitive advantage is experience. We focus on trying to capture the highest reward possible and have the lowest risk profile in an asset as we possibly can.
So what size land packages do you have? And obviously, let's talk a little bit more as to whether or not you're an exploration company, development company, or producer.
Right. Our land packages in Canada and Chile are in the 30 to 70 square kilometer or 20 to 40 square mile land packages. They are purely exploration, no reserves, no resources, but they're very large targets. One for that is gold copper and the other that is copper gold as a focus. Each of the projects has a potential. They're porphyry exploration targets. So that means there's a potential for 100 million to 1 billion tons of material, and we're in the right neighborhood for that size of deposit.
That's what I was going to ask you next. Let's talk about the neighborhood. Usually there's elephants when I hear about that size resource.
That's right. In Canada, we're just south of a mine by the name of Mount Milligan. It's about 30 kilometers to the north, or about 20 miles. And they have, initially it was about 700 million tons of copper, primarily copper and gold as a backup element or a byproduct. In Chile, we're at the southern end of a fault structure that has some of the largest deposits in the world that have been in production, some of them for nearly 100 years.
So let's talk about the gold price and the copper price for a minute, if you would.
Gold price and copper price.
I see a smile when you said gold price.
Well, gold is a passion that I've had for many years, since the mid '80s, and my first day as a broker was a cycle low at $285 in gold. So I've seen many cycles. That's when I had brown hair. You remember those days? A few days gone by. But gold is in a unique position right now in terms of where it is in the cycle. I personally believe that we're going to break the $2,000 barrier and possibly $3,000 within the next 5 years. And it all has to do with the amount of money slopping around in the system and low interest rates. On the flip side, looking at copper, copper is a unique beast. Just like oil and gas, the world needs it. And there are a lot of very large populations in the world that are coming into the middle class. Everybody wants a toaster, a blender, a car, and those all take copper. So we're quite positive on both of those elements, and in bull market or bear market, still the wealth is created at the end of a drill bit.
What's your background?
My background is management and financial. I was an investment banker, broker, as well as corporate finance in mining companies, and I've raised between 300 to 400 million for companies, and I've been involved in founding several companies that have either been bought out or now trade on the New York Exchange, and so serious endeavors, basically.
So who's the geo?
Gary Nordine is our geologist. He was one of the founders of Bema Gold, which now there's a second company, B2. Eldorado Gold, we were both founders of, and in both of those companies, we found 3 gold porphyries, basically, ranging from 6 million to 25 million ounces of gold, with copper credit in some instances. And we're trying to do it again. We've got 2 big porphyry targets, so it's pretty exciting stuff.
So as a public company, only tell me what you can that's been publicly released, etc. What are some growth drivers for the balance of this year, 2019, into 2020?
Okay. Well, as I mentioned, the growth driver is creating wealth, and you create wealth through discovery. And we have just finished drilling our property in Canada. We will be drilling our property in Chile, which is more of a copper project, in the first quarter of the new year. And a drill hole into a big copper deposit can be a huge wealth driver.
Let's get your website out for more information, if you would.
Oh, okay. Our website is Orestone.ca, and the company would be happy to sign you up and keep you informed as we move forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Hottman, Orestone Mining. It's a publicly traded company. It's ORS on the TSX-V, ORESF in the U.S. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNNLive, and we're coming to you live from the 45th Annual New Orleans Investment Conference 2019, right here in lovely New Orleans. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Shelley.